Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you, 10:30 on this 1st of October as you join us here looking live over Charm City, the Inner Harbor. Everything looks gorgeous. I'm Taylor Stewart. Thanks for being with us. Let's go ahead and check your forecast. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart. We started off cooler this morning, but we're quickly heating up.
Yeah, Taylor, you got the golden outfit there. I feel like we had the golden sunshine and the whole week ahead. I mean, it's just golden. If you like this type of weather, we got plenty, so to speak. So low, mid 70s now, some 60s still on the eastern shore. But these numbers, which are already warming up significantly, so much more sunshine already than we had this time yesterday. So a much brighter second half to the weekend because our low pressure area that kept the clouds around yesterday brought the rain last week. That's now offshore and set to stay there. So plan your day for more sunshine and a more significant warm up into the afternoon as we go up into the 80s. If you like the 80s, you'll love the extended forecast. We'll talk about that in the next weather pattern shift coming up.
All right, happening today, Senate Bill 1, which cracks down on legal gun owners, is set to go into effect today. It's going to limit where people with wear and carry permits in Maryland can bring their firearms. Now, just this past Friday, a federal judge blocked parts of Senate Bill 1. They issued a preliminary injunction just blocking the enforcement in places where alcohol is sold, like bars and restaurants. So as this argument plays out, it's really up to these business owners to decide whether or not they'll ban firearms. The governor's office put out a statement saying the court upheld many of Senate Bill 1's common sense reforms that Governor Moore has advocated for. The statement continues with the governor will continue to fight for the necessary measures to protect Maryland's children and make this state safer for everyone. Now, Senate Bill 1 was introduced after the Supreme Court struck down a New York gun law. That ruling made Maryland's previous concealed carry law unconstitutional.
It allows private property owners to control their private property. It allows governments to protect historically sensitive places.
You can pump gas on the parking lot of a gas station, but to go in and pay is now a violation. If there's anything going on, there's no way to take action right then and there without running back to your vehicle.
So beginning today, gun owners cannot take their firearms into schools, hospitals, shopping centers, government buildings, stadiums, museums. Now, the NRA is suing the state over Senate Bill 1, saying it is not constitutional. Senate Bill 1 is not the only law, though, that will go into effect today impacting gun owners. A separate law raises the age for qualifying for a handgun permit from 18 years old to 21. That law has come under some court challenges in parts of the country. The state now is also requiring a greater shortage requirement for firearms. So gun owners can't store loaded firearms in a place where an unsupervised minor could access it. Continuing coverage this morning, the Baltimore Police Department is now making an arrest and following the shooting of an off-duty Howard County Sheriff deputy. This is Ryan Demby. Fox 45 News was the only station on the scene in Northeast Baltimore on Friday as police surrounded this home to make the arrest. They say they arrested 40-year-old Joel Crowder. Now, it comes less than 24 hours after Demby was gunned down in Federal Hill. And despite the quick arrest, though, residents are calling out city leaders and demanding more when it comes to fighting Baltimore's crime crisis. Vincent Hill has the story.
This is tough. Ryan was like a son to me.
Tears and emotions from Howard County Sheriff Marcus Harris, describing Deputy Ryan Demby shot and killed while off duty Thursday night in Fed Hill. His accused killer.
The officers arrested 40-year-old Joel Crowder of Baltimore.
Arrested less than 24 hours after that shooting. Fox 45 cameras were on the scene when Crowder was taken into custody. Police say Demby was caught in the crossfire after an argument led to shots ringing out.
Heard the first pop, immediately followed by pop, 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 and it just kept going. 7 or 8 shots.
Witnesses describing the chaos shortly after.
You didn't know, you couldn't tell who was who, because it was just everybody ran.
What's already been a busy week for Acting Commissioner Richard Worley.
This should have never happened.
He's once again having to acknowledge Baltimore's gun problem.
It was another senseless tragedy. We must work harder to remove illegal guns from our city.
Meanwhile, as Mayor Brandon Scott seeks re-election.
Thank you, and good afternoon.
He's once again offering condolences
to the family and everyone that knew the deputy, that our thoughts and prayers are with you.
And once again, giving a very familiar speech.
This, again, is another unfortunate example and something that has, as you all know, has continuously frustrated me. Simple conflict should not end in someone losing their lives.
A speech residents like Wes Richardson have grown tired of.
I said it once, I'll say it again. Brandon Scott, like, what's he going to do about this? Where's he at?
Have him texting it to me now if you do.
The same question Richardson had for the mayor last year when a shooting happened just feet away from where Deputy Dempey was shot and killed.
So it's scary and it's frustrating. You're like, Brandon Scott, where you at, man? Like, where you at?
Now, that was Vincent Hill reporting there. We're continuing to learn more about the life of Ryan Denby. Social media posts by the Howard County Sheriff's Office reveal Denby had just graduated from the police academy in March. Another post shows his father, fellow Sheriff's Deputy First Class Sam Denby, pinning a badge on his son. And then take a look at this picture here, shared by the agency just this week, showing the father and son duo right there on the left at a charity golf tournament. Governor Wes Moore also releasing a statement on Friday reacting to the shooting. He says, in part, my heart goes out to the friends, family, and colleagues of Ryan Denby and all those who knew him and loved him. In raising his hand to serve as sheriff's deputy, he made the courageous choice to protect our communities and should still be with us today. All right, looking ahead here, Las Vegas authorities say they have a suspect in the murder of the killing of Tupac Shakur. Now, this has happened over the last 30 years. They've been looking for the killer. Now they have a custody date for a trial coming up just ahead.
Dwayne Davis was the shot caller for this group of individuals that committed this crime, and he orchestrated the plan that was carried out to commit this crime.
I know a lot of people have been watching and waiting for this day. Tupac Shakur is a music legend. And for a long time, this community and worldwide have been wanting justice for Tupac.
This arrest comes 2 months after Las Vegas police raided Davis's wife's home. Now, police confiscated multiple computers, cell phones, hard drives in hopes of finding information on Shakur's killing. Now, he has close ties to Baltimore. Remember, he lived in the city during his childhood and attended Baltimore School of the Arts. Fox 45 News will continue to follow this story and bring you the updates here on air and online.
Crisis averted as Congress prevents a government shutdown in the final hours. I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with why the drama is far from over.
And I'm Wyatt Everhart. Temperatures rising from the 70s to more than 80 degrees this afternoon. And that's just the start of the warm up. We'll take the full forecast into account as we go straight ahead here on Fox 45 Morning News.
Well, Congress has passed a 45-day funding bill to keep the government open. That vote, though, barely making it before the end of the day on Saturday, and not without some intense fighting and some drama on the House floor. Sinclair Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman has the latest.
Well, with no time to spare, Congress passing that short-term spending bill to avoid a government shutdown that would have paralyzed a large portion of the country's daily business. The key, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy changing course and bringing a bill to the floor despite massive protest from within his own party and threats from the far-right faction to try and oust him from his speakership.
If somebody wants to make a motion against me, bring it. There has to be an adult in the room. I am going to govern what is best for this country.
With 90 Republicans voting no, he had to rely on 200 Democrats to get the bill across the finish line.
Speaker McCarthy cannot use Democrat votes to advance the spending priorities of Joe Biden and expect that he's going to remain the Republican speaker.
It was clear to us that this spending bill was a complete and total victory for the American people and a total defeat for the extreme MAGA Republicans.
Adding to the chaos of the day, House Democrat Jamal Bowman was seen pulling a fire alarm and forcing evacuations from a House office building as Democrats were looking for more time to read the bill. Bowman's office says he was just confused about how to open the door, some Republicans demanding his expulsion. The new bill is a clean extension of the current funding levels, including needed resources for disaster relief, but it does not include more support for Ukraine, a sticking point throughout this fight. The Senate, hours later, passing the bill too and sending it to President Biden. All the bill really does now is kick the can down the road for another 45 days, which will allow for negotiations to continue on a longer-term spending bill. And if some hard-right Republicans get their way, Speaker McCarthy won't have the gavel next time. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
All right, the White House says President Biden is going to quickly sign the bipartisan bill into law, but stresses that the work is not finished. President Biden, in a statement, notes that there's no new funding in this agreement to continue support for Ukraine, adding, "We cannot, under any circumstances, allow American support for Ukraine to be interrupted." The U.S. has given more than $113 billion to Ukraine since Russia's invasion, nearly $44 billion of it for military aid. Now, many Republicans have cooled on sending additional money. Still ahead, the new season of Fox's Lego Masters is back. Be More lifestyle host Mark Clark is going to have more on what to expect with the new Lego enthusiast and the ambitious builds. That's just ahead. But first, we're transitioning into fall, and it's time to update your fall makeup. Just after the break, the makeup trends that'll have you looking ready for those cozy autumn days. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, as the leaves are changing, it's time to update your makeup routine. Embrace this season with us. Kristen Floyd with OCB Spa joins us this morning with some fall-inspired looks. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And you brought a model around for us?
Yes, this is my gorgeous client and friend, Marie, and she's been gracious enough to come in this early morning for me. And she's modeling one of the biggest things for this season.
And so as we switch seasons, how can we kind of take that summer trend into fall?
Well, basically, I don't know if I feel like we talked about it in one of the other segments I did, like latte makeup.
Yes.
Okay, so latte makeup is the perfect way to transition from summer into fall. And really, latte makeup, if anybody's familiar with that, it's really just monochromatic makeup, right? So I stuck with browns and made them a little deeper, a little richer, a little more shimmery, so you can slide right in from summer into the fall with this gorgeous latte, monochromatic, gorgeous brown with her hair and her skin tone. Looks really great, works really well with the browns and that latte. So latte really anything monochromatic.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so if we're doing something a little bit more daring, like
Yeah.
the purple lipstick, a monochromatic look would be more of like a purple lip liner and something that would be
Just
darker.
like, yeah, right here. So I have
Okay, this is
basically
good.
these beautiful kits, and you can see they're pretty monochromatic, right? So you can pick a theme and go with that, and then tailor the lip to that monochromatic look as well.
Okay, all right. And so on our model today, we've got a very nice monochromatic look. But tell us, okay, there, I was hoping the viewers could see exactly all the beauty I was looking at. Okay, all right. So overall fall makeup trends, as we try to transition and do that monochromatic look, what other things can we make sure we're doing for our skin and makeup?
Well, basically, there's an overall theme of sort of like grunge glam, like slept-in makeup, right? So really smudgy, not really defined. So you can see how I sort of incorporated that into her eyes as well. That eye makeup is not super defined. It's really softly smudged, really sort of that grungy glam. So that's sort of the overall theme.
How do you feel, Marie?
I feel beautiful.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful. Okay, so we're talking about some subtle changes, but you know, we can kind of be smudgier, a little bit more dewy because
slept in.
Slept in. Is that
Slept
what
in.
the kids are calling
Slept
it?
in. Yes, the kids slept in. So not real formal. And and you said dewy skin, and that's another thing too. Like we're not doing a whole lot of coverage. You can see I really left it so you can see her skin shine through. She's got beautiful skin. We're not covering anything, but you want the focus to be that color and grunge glam, kind of that slept-in jam, but also too, if you're doing a bold lip, you can do bold eye too. We're seeing that trend because normally we see one or the other. We're seeing both, so you can go bold on both.
Okay, and I just have to shout you guys out because, quite honestly, as we tried to get into this fall trend, you guys just got awarded.
Yeah, well, we're nominated. We're waiting. We're hoping we're the winner. So OCB Spa, our fifth birth anniversary, as they like to call it, is literally tomorrow. So we're going to have lots of specials and things happening for the month of October, including a little beauty happy hour. And then we were nominated for Baltimore Style Reader's Choice Best Spa, Best Waxing, and Best Makeup.
Well, there's a lot of best there. and you know what's the best this weekend? The weather. Let's go ahead and transition into what still feels kind of like summer-like weather. Wyatt Everhart with the update.
Taylor, ladies, I love the fall, makeup trends, but unfortunately, as summer weather comes back for a few days here, but they're going to come in very handy, those tips, as we go into the week after this one. I can promise you that. The cold air will return. 74 right now at BWI, almost no wind, 10 miles unrestricted visibility. You see it out there. Sunshine all over the place. Beautiful. We need the sunglasses back, finally, the dark ones, too, not just today, but the next several days. 74 right now in Baltimore, 71 in Dundalk, and some upper 60s north and west. A little cooler in the north and west suburbs, all points in Maryland, including western Maryland, into the upper 70s later today. So you see the heat beginning to build this afternoon, and that's really just the start of it. Now, great news here. For this Sunday, or if you have time off this week, this is the time to not only cut the grass, but get all the outdoor chores done. Everything around the house. You got any outdoor painting to do? Perfect drying weather today and for the next several days into this week. Just gorgeous sunny conditions. So we'll call it a suntastic start to the week. Why not? Trending much warmer. If you're a summer weather lover, this is your week. You get a kind of a retro back to summer for the first week of October. But the dry pattern, while that holds, the cooler pattern does reemerge as we go into the following week. So take a look at this. High pressure bubble over the East Coast right now. That is really our current weather maker and the weather maker for the next couple days here. Big bubble, no trouble, we say in the weather business. Basically just means a dome of sinking air. low pressure offshore. This was our not just rainmaker, but cloudy weather maker through the last several days. That is now offshore. Also offshore, some pretty large waves, not just from that low, but also from additional tropical systems making their way north this week. So points down along the Maryland coast could be battered by some fairly good sized waves here in the coming days, because we also have to watch Philippe. Philippe, now a tropical storm. Tropic still very active. You know, we're still not past very far the peak of the hurricane season. So we have to keep an eye here on the Atlantic and on the tropics. The good news with Philippe is, although we expect him to strengthen into a hurricane as we go beyond the midweek, we also expect to turn out to sea. And so this will keep him out to sea, not just from our East Coast, but even from Bermuda, it looks like. So just a threat for probably shipping interest this week. Let's take a look at that extended forecast. You see it's sunshine, it's warm, it's 80s. Fantastic. But if you missed the pumpkin spice latte, don't worry. By next weekend, you're going to need it again as fall comes back.
A new season of Fox's Lego Masters is kicking off with new Lego enthusiasts, ambitious builds, and even more bricks. We're joined now by Lego Masters brick master Jamie Berard. Jamie, what's going on?
Hey, just hanging on a building, having a great time. How about you?
I'm great, man. So how many bricks are we talking about in season 4?
We have 5 million Lego bricks available to our builders, and they are an endless supply that just keeps getting refilled.
So a big change this season. For the first time ever, the winning build will be turned into an actual Lego set. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, it is such a big deal. If you are somebody who loves the Lego company, like our builders do, to find out at the end of the season, that little twist, that little surprise, they were floored. It really means that your build gets immortalized, so the whole world has a chance to build an interpretation of it for themselves. It's a pretty big deal.
That is a big deal. New season and new efforts to stand out. How are this year's contestants separating themselves from the competition?
Oh, actually, you mentioned competition, and I would say this is the most competitive season that we've ever seen.
Wow.
We have some teams that can't help themselves, but actually ask us questions like, how far can we go with this? And we do try to test all of our challenges, but when they're asking us for things that we never even imagined, we are just stepping back like we have no idea where this is going to take us. But I have to say there are genuinely some moments that Will, Amy, and myself just step back with our jaws dropped, like we have no idea where this is going to go, but it is awesome.
And Jamie, this has really become a show that families watch together. You know, how important is that for you?
Oh, it's huge. I absolutely love this. My favorite part of the show is how many people reach out to say, you know what, we actually haven't had a while that my teenage daughter, us as parents, and then maybe even the grandparents come over. It's so cross-generational that there's something about it for everybody. It's just this crazy mix of absurd challenges, really talented builders, and wonderful storytelling. It's just kind of something for everybody, and it keeps everyone on their toes to just kind of want to keep watching, like what else could possibly happen with this? So it's really inspiring because I think it encourages people at home to try to come up with their own creations and then just revisit the brick, maybe something they haven't done in a while.
It's that Lego love. Jamie, thanks so much for your time, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mark. You can watch Lego Masters every Thursday right here on Fox 45. We've got plenty of sunshine. A little hard to tell in the shop, but stick with us. We promise temperatures in the 80s. That's what the forecast says. We'll let you know about the first upcoming day of your full week of October just ahead.
Come on now.
It just makes you smile.
The sunshine. Look, whether you're the warm weather fan and you like this warm up we've got coming, or you're the fall weather fan and you just can't wait for it to get cool again, we all should like the sunshine at this point. We've been in the clouds for a week.
And if we see, I like what your forecast is talking about, because we still get some of that.
I'm telling you, I mean, look, we keep the sunglasses handy all week, all right? I want to make sure you've got yours, the dark ones.
I'll have them.
The dark ones. Now, as we go toward the end of the weekend, the next weekend, there you go, fall weather fans. The chill comes back, so don't worry. But in the meantime, this is a great time to get outside.
So ride your bike today, fall hike on Saturday.
And I have to say, I mean, this is a bright spot here, right?
This is a really bright spot for us.
As bright as it gets. We thought the sun was bright, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, Amy Aronson, of course, I'm filling in for her, and while she's on maternity leave, and with great reason, right? I mean,
absolutely. We want to congratulate meteorologist Amy Aronson as she welcomes her new daughter into the world.
Oh my goodness, Madison, you are a beauty,
She was
to
born
say the least.
September 24th, 9 p.m.